what you guys are going to do is I need you to set your gain structure up for channel 1 first of all. So in your input, we need to make sure we see input 1 listed on this channel. So do go to your input, make sure input 1 is the chosen path, and make sure you've actually plugged into input 1. So go to your mix window, preferably, because it's just easier to access. You can use command equal in order to go back and forth. So if you hold command and hit the equal sign, it'll cycle you back and forth. What's that? Your input doesn't say anything? What does it say? Yeah. So once you've selected input 1, as long as your output says out 1 and 2 or analog 1 and 2 or main outs, as long as your output is actually listed, you can actually hit the record enable button for the channel. See the little record enable, and then you can just set up your gain, you know, to suit your needs. So you can start talking into your mic to be able to get gain on that particular channel. If you're not getting any gain, just know that on the front panel of the Inbox Pro is a switch that switches between the line and mic. So if you're not getting anything and it's on 1, you may actually need to hit that switch. It's a little button.
Yeah, I don't see it.
It says mic line. So if it's not activating, it's just hit it. It'll probably activate once you flip it.
What is that?
Did you see anything?
Things like gain on.
You know what?
Let me check out.
Yeah. Yeah. You should be good.
Oh, you didn't put a game Desert Storm. Remember DJ? Yeah.
Desert Storm.
Oh, is your interface act code your setup? Make sure you pull it. Did you do that?
Yeah.
Set up for that.
You should see the features. You probably got everybody in the world is just like next to Wayne.
You never really had a problem with it.
Yeah.
Where's your output?
That's that fridge out there.
You got everybody on there.
Go ahead, that's a video. You keep inside the joint, that's just exactly what they were. Oh, for real?
So you can Ross and the two.
Go ahead and hit
Check. You got everybody on there. Check. On this. Excuse my French.
let's go to
I think it's supposed to drop. Oh, you said something yet.
Hey, how did you heard? Did you change that?
Nah, I'll be listening to you.
Oh, you're on phone to change.
let's reset it. Reset it by
If I'm doing somebody else next station or you got to freeze it on. You know what I'm saying? Like all the new shit, very copy. That shit just sound funny. Dude,
True.
like done my damn chain.
You guys got line in?
Line in.
Oh, you guys got it.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. Yes.
No.
It ain't even speaking. It's not even. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Too much.
Yeah. I didn't have the same BK markers out. I already hit all the buttons and everything.
What is SFTINT shift intermission? What's that?
Reopen it.
Oh, you want
SFT-INT.
Then let's make sure the playback on the right input.
They're all pressed in. Is that like a tab? Yeah, they're all pressed in.
No, I don't think it is. It's weird.
Yeah, mine won.
EJ, is yours working or is it not working?
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah, we might have to just reset the interface. You might want to actually just go in and hit cancel. And just go set up playback engine. and
Oh,
change it to
fan power's on.
yeah, just like built-in output or something.
It would be bright, right?
And
It's
then
the
just
40
cycle
feet.
through.
But I can't tell if the light is.
And it, no, what we're gonna do is when we get back into this, we'll
Yes.
set it back to
on.
playback engine.
I think the person said,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
oh, yeah, he said, don't even do it.
Only for a condenser.
And just hit yes.
He said, I don't care what anyone tells you.
And then record it in. Let's get
You're
it.
right, listen, man.
Yeah, sure, hell no. Not fucking press.
Drop down. Hit okay. And then just see if it'll let you list in what one again.
Frankie,
Set up IO to default. and
Yeah.
drop down.
he's Milwaukee.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he moved it. He ain't moved to VX till he was like 13. Oh, he didn't even speak English.
So go ahead and hit.
Oh, so okay.
He started selling drugs. Like, all right, this is how they do in America, I guess.
You know what, select it.
It's like an over.
Oh, yeah, he won't.
Let me try something real quick, cause we can try it too, but I just, that's a
He
problem.
can make it move, real move. Yeah,
And you be pushing.
shit.
Oh, you know,
I mean, his name French Montana, coach.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
This
this is.
is self-explanatory. I feel like the only cats that they get knocked out.
were you getting meters on here?
Cats that get knocked out.
That's
They
right.
probably just got cats that will take the day for them. So I don't kid got out of that. Still chilling. God damn.
Man,
It was a track house.
here, let's do this.
No time.
Go to the,
It's like, yeah, that's all me.
go to the
Yeah,
workstation,
I'll take it.
and,
Shit, you keep going down.
I'll
eject the, localized hard drive.
And if there's an actual talk to
Yeah, and you just hit a mount on the little menu system here.
to everybody and shit, he told me he basically he bought a
Yeah, it's down here.
he rented out a couple spots under his name for his boys to sing it.
Power this
Like, I
down.
didn't know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? I just
Back on. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the reset bus.
put it in my name because I got credit.
I mean, he take this.
Nah, can't.
Just-
because, I mean,
just
it's his
hit,
name, but he
quit
claiming it.
and reopen.
He ain't got nothing there.
Oh, you have something?
Yeah, I started.
I mean, he's
You
something.
probably don't
Okay.
even have to be there.
I'm in line.
No.
Okay, good, then more than likely when you go back into Pro Tools, you should do it.
Yeah.
Shit.
Is everybody else okay so far? You doing good? All right.
Oh, shit. Hey, here it is, right here.
Denzel, you good, buddy?
Yeah, yeah.
PJ, you're fine now?
Yeah.
You look, going on to me.
Right, you might have to change your, IO for, I'm sorry, the playback engine. Which setup you're going to, only because I took it offline. So, yeah.
Lag.
Alright, so hold on, right where you are.
That shit don't make no sense.
Pick built-in output real quick and hit OK and follow the sequence as it goes through.
That shit crazy. This shit crazy. I saw it last night.
And then go back to that setup, playback engine.
This shit.
They showing 810 the morning.
Yeah, that shit is gonna be ridiculous.
Oh, this is Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Feel like a little lag.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well I'll walk you through that because you guys have to initiate a little something on that.
How are you? You start to get it all over again.
Yeah, you don't have to use a drive.
That's what I did.
It's looking like it's pretty bad.
I don't wanna hear the feature.
Just reset it.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would know.
You feel me?
I'm skipping over it,
You feel me? Straight up. Features.
but shit, I'll take this part out.
Yeah, that's
Put it in my home burner on there. Put up the whole thing.
Oh, you know the hard drive didn't come back. Here, did you close it already?
I'll say hard work. Got hard work.
Work hard, never been done before. We should. Does he have T.I.?
you got TI?
You want to restart it or shut it down?
You can just shut it down, turn it on. Sometimes it gets hung up in the restart.
Oh, that's that new Hold on, man. Everything else got a feature on it.
I think everybody's different too. Yeah, everybody on the computers at once.
Except for me.
Yeah. I think everybody's on computers at once. Yeah, okay. That's crazy. God. See, this is how you market yourself, though. Because then force people to listen to you. Because anybody's got one of this. I don't care who you trade with. Yeah, you have every major artist in your most of yeah, I'm saying that. And J. Cole.
So far as your mic.
Yeah, it's showing. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what happens when it goes online. Well, it's not online yet, so let's see what it does.
Only way it's gonna happen is with the weed.
That's crazy. Either he gonna kill it or it's gonna be disappointing. It's either gonna be one day.
Now you know what? Nah, it's not anymore.
Try it now. Yeah. Okay. So one step closer. You might still need to check your playback engine when you get up in there and see if it's on. If it's on there. If it's on there. Cool. Okay. Hopefully we can get it. So just go up and delete it in the IO. So go to the IO, delete the first input, and then hit default. Yeah, then hit OK. And then yeah, set it up again and then record it. Oh wait. Did you deleted it and then hit default?
Yeah, no, okay.
Oh, okay. Huh, why is it? Oh, the output's also inactive, probably need to set the output back up. And then try. You hit record enable. Oh, did we move to 2? We moved to 2, that's why. We moved to 2, that's right. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, that was a little bit of a roundabout. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, okay? Today we're going to talk about what audio recording, some very basic audio recording elements, but I want to get us into this because you guys, obviously all of you have done audio recording in one way, shape, or form, some sort of fashion. I want you to take notes on what we're about to do. I'm going to show you just some basic principles of this, but you need to take notes because this is, what I show you is going to be the basics of the next level. So we're getting into the intermediate kind of realm, and then we're going to get into the advanced pretty quickly after this. So I'm going to get you kind of started so you can see what's up. Okay? So everybody's got their track rolling. Please do me a favor. And let's go look in the edit window real quick at a couple of elements before we get started. All right, so jump to the edit window. Real quick, I want to talk about tempo, meter, and key signature, and then we're going to get into a couple other things, but I want to show you this real fast, okay? You guys should, by default, see some of these things in your ruler, so you should actually be able to see in your rulers tempo, meter, and key. If you're not seeing that, there's the menu right here that you can gain access to, and you can hit those particular selections, or you can just hit all, so it shows everything. So there's a lot of stuff, so you might not want all. So a lot of times you may want just specifics. You can actually take anything like timecode and timecode 2 that you're not using out, feet and frames, all that kind of stuff. So you're seeing this right here. Now, there's two ways to really work with audio. One is that we use a lot in our kind of realm. One is in sample-based time, which essentially is minutes and seconds and time code and all that kind of stuff. Another way to work with it is tick-based time. Tick-based, which essentially is based upon tempo. So in other words, bars and beats. So notice at the very top of this bar of the ruler area, you see bars and beats, and it's in the gray. Essentially, what it's going to do is it's going to map out specifically measure numbers so that you can use this in generating specific things based upon time in the edit window. So in order for us to understand this best, we do actually have to look at a couple things, one of which is meter. And see where it says meter, and it shows a default meter of 4/4, which essentially means four quarter notes constitute one measure. So it's going to take 4 quarter notes to constitute a measure. Well, if we would like to change this, notice there's a little plus sign here. If you select your plus sign, go ahead and hit the plus sign beside meter. We're not going to change it, but we are going to hit the plus sign so you can see it. If you hit the little plus, it'll actually give you the ability to make meter changes along the way. So if you wanted to go to 6/4 or 8/4, or if you wanted to go to 12, you can actually do that, and then it will change essentially essentially what it's going to do is it's going to change. And I'll do this one so you can see it. If you're in grid, and that's absolute grid, which is in the blue, when you zoom in, what it'll change is it'll show you dark blue will be the beginning of a measure, and dark blue will be the beginning of the next measure or the end of the previous measure, and all these little light blues essentially will be the notes in between. So before, when it was 4/4, I needed 4 to get to the next measure. Now I needed 12 because I put in 12. So notice it's going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and then 13 is the beginning of the next measure. So if I set mine back, which I'm going to do, I'm just going to hit the plus sign again and take it back to what it was, 4/4, you'll see it change. So now it's every 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then off to the next measure. Does that make sense in terms of what meter is? Now, in order to view this in the time in your actual main counter, you're going to want to use bars. If you guys are, especially if you're doing anything musical, you're going to want to make sure that if you go to the menu alongside of your main counter, you actually have bars and beats selected. What it's actually going to show you is at any location that you're at, it's going to show you what measure, what beat, and these are the subbeats behind it. So if I ask you what this first number is, what is it? Measure number. And what's the second number?
It's the beat.
The beat of that measure. And then these are the subbeats that fall below that. So notice, right now I'm in grid and I'm only allowed to access each quarter note. So notice it goes basic. How many of you know anything basic about music? I mean, you guys actually took the 101 course for it, so you know some fundamentals. Watch what happens in the bar beat counter. 1, 1, 1. So measure 1, beat 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4, and then 4, 2, 3, 4. So essentially a basic phrase. So that's what we're actually seeing as we jump through these. Now, while we're on this discussion, this brings us to grid resolution. And if we look over here off to the right, you're going to see an area here that says grid, and then an area below that says nudge. And we're going to focus on the grid value. If you hit where it says grid, it's actually going to get rid of the grid lines. So if you hit it again, it's going to show you grid lines. Sometimes some people don't want to see grid lines. I prefer to see them pretty much always.
I was wondering why mine wasn't there.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see them not exist, and that would be helpful to know. It doesn't mean you're in slip if you don't see them necessarily. So you have to keep an eye on which mode you're in the first place. So looking at that, that'll be really super important. But looking over here, you see something else as you drop down this menu. And what this is the resolution of the grid. So if you want to see just grid form in 1 bar segments, you'll see it measure by measure, which means you're not allowed to get inside of the measure. You'll literally be on outer measures of the grid. And of course, we can take it all the way down to 1/64th. So literally, if I go down in here, and even then it's not showing all of them. Let me zoom in real tight. I can see 64th notes inside of 1 measure. So if I start at the beginning and I hop through these, notice what's happening. It's the sub, you see the sub beat change as we go from element to element, but what will now you'll see in these dark blue is this dark blue will now constitute a quarter note. So it takes this many just to get to the quarter note. So if we scroll down, we don't even get to the end of the measure until quite a ways.
So even though you changed it, it's still the same length.
It's still the same length. It's just essentially a more in-depth resolution so I can get to smaller values inside the grid. So essentially that's the smallest you'll see.
Makes it easier for you to do like custom trimming and stuff.
Yes, absolutely. This is a little more, I mean, when you get into 64ths, a little better served with MIDI. And I'll show you that.
Oh, yeah.
A little better served with MIDI, a little harder with audio. You're really not going to do a ton of 64th movements with audio. By the time you're doing that, you might as well just do it in slip. But I mean, you could see 8th and 16th.
It's basically like FL Studio.
Yeah, every DAW has this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fruity Loops, Reason, Live. I mean, you won't find any that won't because they won't sell. There's no way for them to even be usable if they don't utilize the grid. But the grid really gets us into a good discussion about the next level from here because we just walk through the grid resolution and we walk through how we set up how many essential quarter notes are in the grid. Now let's look at tempo. We're going to look at customizing mapping tempo pretty soon in a sec, in a couple weeks. If you double click either on this little red arrow, either double click on the red arrow or hit the plus sign, either one's going to get you the tempo change section. And what it's going to give you is it'll give you the option to essentially cycle through tempo, you know, make your tempo what it is, whatever you need it to be. So something fast, something slow, whatever. And there you go. And what you'll actually see changes as, of course, the tempo changes, you're going to see the grid itself change. So the grid itself will move quite a bit based upon the tempo changes that you incur. Now we're going to do a lot with this later. For tonight, we're going to just kind of keep it very simple. But let's go ahead and go to track. And down at the bottom, so the track menu, let's go ahead and create a click track.
I don't know why, but I can't have that playing while I'm doing something. It'll throw me off.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the click track plugin itself.
Yeah, mine came out hella small.
And if you open up the plugin itself in the mix window, so if you actually get to here, just a little tip on this. Depending on who you are and what you like, a lot of the people that I work with prefer the sound of Marimba 2. So if you go to where it says factory default and you will go up to the preset that says Marimba 2, essentially what this is it's a wood block. And if while you're looking at this, you hit option on the unaccented, it's essentially going to set it at -6, and if you hit option on the accented, it's going to put it to -6, so they'll all be the same click, basically. No accent or unaccents.
Is this getting rid of the lag?
No, not yet. I'll show you the lag situation.
How'd you break that box again?
This is actually a plug-in on the click track in the mix window. Yes, sir? Just go, no, you can't make it there. You actually have to go to the track. At the top, go to track. And at the bottom of the list, it says create click track. Yeah. So go to the mix window, go to the plugin itself. and open that plugin, and what you'll see is there's a preset that says Marimba 2, and then all you're going to do is hold Option and click on the accented and the unaccented. Normally, the reason why this is healthy is because a lot of times, most people, if you haven't noticed how they accent and unaccent, it's not by pitch, it's by volume, which sometimes allows people to get off the click because the volume changes. So a lot of times you want a real consistent volume so you can keep to it. Now, in order to kind of to best show you, how this works out, I want to actually go to. Well, I'll play it for you. Obviously, you hear what the click sounds like. What I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to set this up to do something called loop recording, which is why we're even having this conversation. Okay, so here's what we need to do. Go to the options menu, and please if you hadn't started writing notes, this is where you really need to start writing notes, because this is where this is going to get quite fun. We're going to go to the options menu, and we're going to go down to what's called loop recording.
It's already checked.
That's fine, if it's already checked.
Click it anyway.
No. If you click it again, it'll it'll deactivate.
Loop record.
Yes, please. Now, one thing to point out, you can activate and deactivate the click from this menu. So see where it says click? Even though the click track is there, we can still activate it and deactivate it from here. We can also activate and deactivate it from the actual transport. So if we got the transport window and you select or deselect the metronome here, it will actually get rid of it. Yeah, the conductor is the blue guy over here.
So, that's what change your speeds.
Yeah, to make basically mapping tempo. So, so far, everybody's in the loop record right now?
Yes.
To fix the latency issue, you have to go to options and you'll scroll all the way down and make sure you select low latency monitoring. At the bottom of the list on the options. This will get rid of that echo that you're hearing or that delay that you're hearing.
In the mic.
Yes.
Yeah, this on Pro Tools 8.
Yes, this is available on all versions of Pro Tools. The only catch is it's not available on Inbox Mini. It's actually not available on small interfaces, which is why they give you that mix knobs. This is only available on like the 002s, the 003s, the 2626s. I know it's kind of painful, but that's how they build the I mean, realistically, they build the product so that you really want to make a jump to a bigger interface. But yes, please select that. That'll get rid of any delay, so make sure that's selected. Now, if we go back to Window and we open up the transport, let's leave it open for a second. I want to just talk about a couple things with this, and then we'll really set this thing up to start rocking.
How the hell did you do that?
Window, transport.
Command 1, right?
They make it bigger.
Oh, you actually have to hit the menu.
Well, the only reason it's not as big as that is because that's on the big on the screen. No, mine's like small.
No, if yours is small, look, there's a little menu on the side, and like, keep an eye, this is a really good point. Anytime you guys need a menu, it's attached to anything, it's represented as this little arrow. So if you select it, what you can do is just select all, and it'll blow it up. And then you might even need to hit expand to transport to get the rest of it. A lot of times you don't need all. What you probably opened up to is the minimal version, which looked like this.
If you open all of it, it gives you the MIDI options too, right?
Yes. Yeah, notice it's essentially counters, MIDI controls, and synchronization. We don't really need sync because we're not ever going to use that at this level. You guys will begin to use it in the future, in the year 2000. All right, here's where we're going. You guys got that so far? What I want you to do is I want you to select count off, 2 bars, and all you're going to do is click on count off. You can change how many bars. But if you just double click on it and it'll say, wherever. But do me a favor and click on it for a second because I want to also show you something else. If you click on 2 bars right here, if you click on where it says 2 bars, you're going to get a Windows, a menu kind of dialog that opens up.
Not true.
Did you double click it?
Oh, there you go.
Double click 2 bars. Now, what did it still has delay on it?
No, I'm saying the house, because it would always, like, when I'm
Hey,
doing
here,
record,
now.
it would
Oh.
wait a couple seconds, that's why. I got that clip.
Okay, so notice it says click count off options, and it gives you the ability, this is where you can actually, on the click, change the note instead of the volume. So if you want to change the note itself, that kind of may help you instead of actually changing the volume. But notice it says click. During play and record, you can actually set it up so the click is only active during recording. So if you don't want to hear it when you're not recording, you can actually set it to do that. Another thing you can set it to do is you can actually set it to have an external output that's not the basic output. So you can actually send it out any one channel you want. This is great if you're using Pro Tools live on stage.
Wait,
Okay.
how do you get that big window?
Get what?
That window?
Double click on 2 bars.
I did that. I'm getting a meter change.
You gotta move the arrow up a little bit.
Did you double click? Oh, you probably double clicked on meter. Make sure you double click on where it says 2 bars. Because if you double click on meter, it's going to give you meter options.
And then,
So you see this during, only during recording. Well, what happens is, when I was in a band, we used this all the time because we'd run all of our playback and any backing tracks and any sound effects. We'd run them off of the Pro Tools system. And this allows you to put the click on any output channel that you want, and then by routing the click down another, and you could always do this manually. If you go into the mix window, you could tell it to do it manually. By going into the mix window, you can actually go map it out there, but essentially you could run it down a different output. So if you got an interface that has more than 2 outputs, you run the stuff you're running to the front of house or to the, from the stage out there, and then you send a click to the drummer on his own separate output, and then he can follow the click all day. Or like if you were like me, I took click as well, so sometimes I'd start a song on guitar and it would have like loops or something in the background. I'd still run it to click, and it all works out. It's nice and fun. So anyway, that's where all that is. So you can change your count off time and all that. Let's go now. Everybody's kind of in the know about that, right? So you guys are understanding of what that is?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go now to Pro Tools Preferences. Now, notice there's all these windows up top. These get you to all the quick access stuff. Go to Pro Tools Preferences. This is all the in-depth stuff. All the in-depth stuff. There's a lot of stuff in here. You guys will learn about a lot of this, but you might want to familiarize yourself with this if you haven't really done a ton with it yet. So go to Pro Tools Preferences. Is everybody here so far?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's go to, let's see, we're going to be going to, oh, maybe I missed it. Oh, operation, please. Now notice each one of these sections has a title, so like transport is this whole section here, recording is this whole section here, auto backups, this is where you can set when your auto backups are taking place. And then this clip auto fade in, fade out, extra section is here. But you have a lot, there's all sorts of properties you can change in this area. Do write this down, very important. Pro Tools Preferences, Options, please select Automatically Create New Playlists when loop recording.
automatic what?
Automatically create new playlists when recording.
Exactly.
It automatically creates new playlists when recording. When loop recording. I'll show you. I'll show you what it does. What it does is fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, it's pretty killer. Everybody got that so far?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, let's go ahead and hit OK. Now here's the thing. We're going to be doing loop recording. To initiate loop recording, we have to actually highlight a loop. Sounds simple, but people miss this all the time. What I'd like for you to do is to highlight from the beginning of bar 3. So if you go to where it says bar 3, beat 1, should just be count, 1, 2, 3. Everybody highlighted on bar 3. You just need to click into it. Bar 3, beat 1. Just click on bar 3, beat 1. Now what you're going to do is you're going to hold shift. So this is a hotkey you're going to need to know. Shift and return. And click return. And watch what it does.
Wait, mine are all messed
So
up.
when you hit shift return, it goes all the way to the beginning?
Goes all from wherever you are all the way to the beginning, it'll highlight it. How is yours messed up?
19, 17, 25.
Well, you're not zoomed in far enough if you're seeing those.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You said bar 3?
Bar 3, beat 1. So just to give you an idea, I'm going to back out. You don't have to do this, but just so you get an idea, just like you're saying, anywhere I select, if I hit shift and return, it's going to highlight all the way to the beginning. Now, there's a function that you guys need to learn from we're going to start working with this, but in the edit window, a new command to add to your palette is anytime you learn a hotkey command inside the edit window, if you add to it the command, I should say the hotkey of option, it will do it in the reverse manner. It'll usually reverse or invert it. So notice if I click here and I hit shift return, it's going to highlight to the beginning. But if I click and I hit shift option and return, watch what it does. Well, actually, it won't do anything because I don't have any audio. Let's see. Let me just record a spot. I'm going to record a spot of audio because it doesn't know where any audio really exists. Hold on, it'll come through in 2 seconds and I'll show you. Okay. So now I'm going to go to the beginning, like somewhere over here. If I hold shift option and return, what it's going to do is it's going to go from where I am to the end. Instead of what it did with shift return was from where I was to the beginning, shift option return is from where I am to the end. It's because there's no audio there. It doesn't know where the end is. Until you actually record audio, it has no idea what the end is, but it will know where the beginning is because that will never change. So you really won't be able to do this until you start recording, but I just wanted to show you that because now it's really easy to do this. So when we're picking our bar, you guys should have just picked bar 3, beat 1. Right? And then just held shift and return and highlighted that. So now what do we have? We're highlighting how many bars?
3.
Not actually correct.
2.
2. 2.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to do something for you as an example, and I want you to follow along, but don't get freaked out if this is the first time you're seeing this, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to engage loop recording. I don't want you to do this until you see me do it and understand what in the preference menu, when we set automatically create new playlists when loop recording, that is a significant item. So if you didn't write that down, you need to write that down because you won't be able to do what I'm about to do without it. You should have also wrote in your notes options, select loop record. Yes, sir.
What I put, you said put shift, right?
Yeah.
Or I mean option.
Yeah, it won't work unless you have audio recorded.
I mean like to make it go to the left, it won't work.
To the left is just shift return. But yeah, to the right it won't work until there's audio because it doesn't know where the end is. Don't worry, once we're done with this though, once we start doing some of this, you'll very easily see this. Now, what's the significance of the click track?
Keep it beat.
Yeah, because what I'm doing is I'm making a grid, or I'm using a grid of bars and beats, but that doesn't mean a hill of beans if the performer doesn't use it. So we have to have a click track to actually adhere to this so that we can very easily copy and paste and fly and all that kind of stuff. Let me think. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Check 1, 2, 1, 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you what's going to happen when I loop record. It's going to be real basic. Did someone just step out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So here's what happens when we use this loop record function. It's real basic, real super easy. But watch as this takes place. So 2-bar count off. Actually, I cut that a little early. Watch what now takes place. So we did it in this whole new playlist thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go, and there's two ways to look at this. See this little menu over here? I want to show you this. You have to get used to. As soon as you start changing the size and the ruler of the view, if it's underneath, if it's anything smaller than medium, your menu system here changes a little bit, and it kind of makes it a little complicated to work with. But for now, for the most basic way to look at this, if you're in medium, you're going to gain all access to what are now listed as playlists. So that's what's. I just took 3 passes. I don't know if you guys noticed that it looped 2 times. I mean, it went to the end the first time and then it looped 2 more times. That's what you're seeing these voxes listed as right here. So watch what happens. If I cycle through these, I'm looking at the individual performances. So I'm actually going to mute this and get rid of this. You can hear this.
So you can do different takes without having to stop the recording, basically.
Yeah, it's the beautiful function of loop recording. But watch what happens now that all these takes are essentially provided for me. Over here's another function in the what's called the track view selector where it says waveform. Are you okay, EJ?
Yeah, so
Oh, is he out? Oh, he was locked out.
What did I say? Waveform?
Yeah, the track view selector where it says waveform. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select it, and I'm going to go to what says playlist. Now, you guys stay where you're at because you don't have playlist yet, but you're going to do this. So I'll walk you through it. What you're going to see is it's going to drop all the playlists in a manner that I get to see them all at one time.
Oh, that's dope.
I'm going to show you what this means in a little bit, but what I'm going to be able to do with this now, okay, is if I go to and highlight this track, and I could either right-click it to hit duplicate, or I can go to the track menu and hit duplicate. I'm going to duplicate it twice, so I'm going to hit duplicate, and I'm going to basically say, let's keep all this stuff. I'm going to duplicate it twice. I'm going to hit 2 times. It's going to make 2 duplicates. What I'm going to do with these is I'm just going to rotate them so that the second duplicate is take 2. The first duplicate, so the first duplicate's going to be take 1, so I just need to make sure it's take 1. The second duplicate's going to be take 2. The third duplicate's going to be take 3, basically. So I'm just going to go bam, 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 1, 2, 3. This one was a little late, so I'll have to adjust it, but... And actually... And if I highlight this, if I highlight this and let it do a loop, what's called a loop playback, which is nice because it'll keep going. Actually, I'll be able to. Yeah, it just started late. I started late on it because of the bar, but you're going to have, I mean, essentially, well, and then the one.
I didn't hear it at first. I just heard it the last time you played.
It's because I was rotating it. I was rotating which one you were hearing. Essentially, I was opening up, because they don't all go together at the same time, but I built them I built 2 types of harmonies in one shot, so that essentially when I'm done with this, if I stay in grid, I can literally just go, all right, these 2 go together, and these 2 go together, so I'm just going to go copy, paste, I'm sorry, duplicate.
And you can just delete the rest.
Well, yeah, I'll just duplicate this one with this one, I'll duplicate this one with this one, and this one I'm not going to use at this point in time, so that I can leave them all open so they'll actually change as they flow. Now, I mean, in the big picture, once I teach you Elastic Audio, it'll make this a lot easier. But I'm gonna do what's called a hard edit, so all I'm gonna do with this is I'm just gonna separate the region and snap it to the beginning of the bar as if I did it correctly, and then just unfold it using the trim tool. Which is doable if the note's the same, just apply a crossfade so that it starts at the right time, and essentially it should just act as though it did it correctly in the first place. And then,
What does a crossfade do?
oh, essentially it's going to fade from one reed to the next. We're going to talk about crossfades quite a bit later on. But I kind of cut this one short. This is the last one I did. But essentially you're seeing that loop recording really allows you to really quickly essentially do real quick tracks. But it's going to take us to another level here in a second. But what I'd like for you to do, take your 2-bar phrase that you're doing loop recording with, go ahead and you're going to get, you select a count off. So you're going to get a count off of 2 measures. So you'll hear it go 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Then go ahead and do something. It doesn't have to be singing. If you want to beatbox, you could literally do like, go in and do a beatbox of a kick, let it loop. The next one, do the beatbox of a snare. The next one, do a beatbox of a hat. I mean, whatever you want to do. Let's do three loops essentially. Let's go around 3 full times and then stop it and we'll break it out. So each one of you, grab your headphones, grab your mic. We're going to go ahead and engage. As long as you selected the loop and as long as you've engaged in the options window loop recording, you can go ahead and push Command Space Bar, which is your hotkey for recording, to begin recording, and it's just going to cycle.
I can't even hear myself.
Yeah.
Is your headphone blown?
It's all actually all the way up.
Yeah. Hello. Hey, yeah.
At first I can hear myself.
Try this. Try this. Can you hear this?
Hello. Yeah.
No, nothing else here.
Hey, yeah.
I can hear that.
I can't hear myself.
I'm recording it. But
I still heard myself before. So now I can't.
Nah.
Go to pause though.
Yeah.
It's just positive.
Okay, we're online. Okay, go ahead and hit OK. Go to the IO. So,
Yeah.
go to
Yeah.
at first I was able to hear it. Now I'm not able to hear it.
You know what?
Same
Select
here.
out 1, 2, and then hit delete path. Yeah. And then hit default. And then hit OK.
Yes.
And save that. See. Oh, you're gonna have to reassign your output. Yeah, so you should reassign. No, not the end. Just the output.
Hello? Oh,
I wish I could sing.
Hello? Hello?
But it was. Oh, well, make sure you already.
I can't even sing, man.
I can't see what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
either.
I can't even hear nothing.
None of you guys have got anything?
I
I
got
can't
something. I
hear
can't hear it.
it.
Well, you have click track, but you don't have anything else?
Well, I thought
The levels are
before
there.
I made my click track, I was able to.
Oh, before you made the book.
What the?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Oh, damn. Warning.
Yeah.
They just came in? Or?
Where's it? You said.
Let me see. Is yours not working on the output either?
Oh, mine works.
Oh, yes, sir. Hello.
You said it should be in duplicate.
That light has killed me.
Here, let's see what's up.
Are we supposed to?
Yeah, once you go around 3 times, you guys can break them out. EJ, if you don't mind sharing with him how you break out into this playlist when you get a chance.
I had a question though.
Oh, but you already get feed though, weren't you?
Yeah.
I'm getting feedback, but I can't hear.
But you're not hearing it. You're still not hearing it.
And before I made the click track, I was able to hear everything. And this is the gain all the way up, the run all the way up, everything all the way up.
Oh, wait a second.
It records, but you can't hear nothing.
Oh, it's because. Hold on, it's because.
Yeah, you can't hear the feedback, but when you play it back, it's got playback though, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I was like, how am I supposed to know?
You're supposed to, right? Like when you record.
He should be. He's going over there.
Were you not, what, are you guys not hearing anything either?
Yeah, it's.
You're not hearing the.
I can see the feedback, but I'm not hearing the playback.
Shit.
Like mine's recording, and I just can't hear myself recording.
Yeah, same thing.
That's alright.
Somehow What happened?
I can just hear myself and all the stuff I did. It just sounds funny.
He said he's going through it 3 times, right?
I just got this stuck in my head.
That's just sketchy. No wonder why.
Sweet low.
If you weren't ghetto, I would think you were racist.
Yeah.
Delete the click track.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a quick check problem.
Yeah.
Something else is wrong.
It just sounds chippy.
I mean, it was all fine, and then I picked it back
It
up.
was all good just a week ago.
That's what we're saying.
Were you trying to hear yourself?
Yeah.
It was fine.
We can
Because
get
I got
that
okay.
back.
Because when you're talking to the mic, you're supposed to be able to hear yourself.
Yeah, I didn't hear myself. I was kind of leaning with what
As
I
soon
did.
as we hit the click track, I wouldn't
How
let
did
you
you
hear
click
yourself.
off? Oh yeah. Off.
Because I was able to hear myself before the click track.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it has a problem if you record, but
Go.
I'm gonna have some echo. Maybe walk the telephone.
Low.
So we do walk.
Low. Oh, that's what I'm gonna do. Alright. Break it, break it. Break it, break it. Break it, break
I'll
it.
be fine.
Me too.
I should take some lessons. Somebody help.
Sweet chill, shall we? So why can't I hear it?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out right now. I just recorded it and just to see if it records, it plays back.
I'm gonna beatbox on it and see how it sounds. Can you hear me though?
You saw what he did to get him though, right? Cycle through the takes just there, but
Nah.
Dude, it was right in the
Yeah,
box.
click track.
Oh.
Hear it?
Yeah, that's not a fix. You won't be able to get back.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, you really, if it's not working, it's not working for some other reason.
It's crazy. It was working right when I started. I haven't saved, so maybe you can just reopen it
Yeah,
again.
time it out.
I didn't save anything yet. So.
Open it back up.
Alright, so
You get it with
box.
Yeah, so do like a couple takes, like either 3 takes.
Because I remember when I was in the radio spot, in the first spot, we had it on different things to record.
Yeah, no, he's actually, he's not shit. Believe me, they don't have any effect.
Oh, that's like,
These are just what
if you put it on volume, you could do
automation. Yeah, those won't have any effect on it, but there's still something else that's still.
So then you just record something?
Yep.
What the hell was that?
Do one, and then another one
I don't
after
know
that.
what that was.
Did it come back?
To blow your ear out?
You gotta select it.
That's what I felt like.
Dude, I can hear clack, clack, clack.
Ah. What the hell?
Man, if I ever like, I'm gonna edit music in my house, I want one of those big old screens right there.
Hey, yo,
That'll make everything
damn, my
nice.
shit still, I can't get no feedback.
You know what it is? It's your low latency monitoring.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, you'll have to disable, go to options and disable low latency monitoring. I'm not sure why it won't allow you to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe so it doesn't play back.
And as soon as we turn that on, I'm like,
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so you have to go to options and disable it. I'm not sure, that shouldn't be normal, but maybe they changed something in the setup with this where, I'm not sure why that would have been.
It's not playing back. That's what stuff to process.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. So let me know how it goes and then we'll.
So how do you
Oh, now
you said put it on 3 bars?
No, put it on the beginning of bar 3, beat 1, and then hit shift return. It's only going to record 2 bars.
How did you make? Oh,
But I'd suggest once you're ready, you can just duplicate it twice, and then you can go back to waveform view. No, it won't allow us to do it that way. But you'll see, I'll show you why this will be important in a second. That'll be our next little.
Now, what's the other way to do it?
You can right click on the nameplate. So if you guys right click on the nameplate, you can duplicate it, and then you can use the menu system to cycle through it. Which is this is the playlist menu, that little arrow right beside it to the right. You can use that to cycle them through. So I'll be right back. I'm just gonna get some more water, and then we'll be right on to the next thing. Okay? Just keep, if you're already done tracking, just keep at it.
Hey, how did you guys get it to? Fuck, that was loud. How did you get it to? How did you get to record? My shit ain't recording. Stop doing it. Bitch, record.
Hit the
space
bar.
Smart ass.
And then I think that shit should do it.
Let's see.
You got the count off on?
Yeah.
Yeah, son of a bitch.
You know,
Yeah.
Not like
I'm gonna play it on.
What?
That's a recording. You should have two.
I'm
Right?
playing what?
But you gotta
Break it
so
low,
it's
break it
not-
low.
This is what you gotta do.
Break it low. See how like how they did that?
Yeah.
So when we got three, when we click on three,
Here you
go
go.
shift and return. So just command Z all of that. Just so you can start off free. Just delete it. Return.
Skadoosh.
Push three.
Then that's just hard to record all of it at once.
And then loop recorders already on.
What the hell was that?
Yeah, so like click on.
What's up?
Enable
You like
recording.
open it up?
This.
Oh yeah.
And then when
Keep
you
going.
record, it'll go back to the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
So how many do I have to do it once or?
However many you want. And then after that, that's when you go to the arrow
This is too good.
Okay, hold on.
to bring up that playlist.
Right there and stop. Stop. Okay, it's right there. And then three of them. Oh shit, I did do.
Yeah, just that's the point. So
Yeah, that's like right.
so you're recording it, you know what I'm saying? Different takes back and
Denzel, are you running it with the click?
Yeah.
Did you pick the two bars? Oh, here. So usually you have to select it right here at the beginning of bar 3. Select it there, hit shift return. Yeah. And let it loop. It'll loop 3 times.
Okay.
So it's going to start. You had set a count off on the click or on the transport, so it'll count you off, and once you're in, once it gets to the end, it's going to start right away at the beginning again. So just be ready for it to come back around. So you're just going to try to let it go 3 times.
Oh shit.
I like it's that kind of way. Does it play like the first one that you recorded or no?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah. It plays all of them. You just have to cycle through it. Did you already cycle through?
No, I mean like does it play it while you're doing the second one?
No. No, you won't be able to hear it, unfortunately. I'll walk you through why this is helpful to this set. Once everybody's done. Are you done already, actually? Were you done?
No. That is
Oh, damn.
It's throwing me off.
It did the other take, delete
You record farts and you just don't know over each other.
You did them at like different octaves and it just sounded all like harmonized. That was dope.
Cool.
I'm gonna do that right now.
I did break it low, and then
Damn, that shit's hard. Can't keep my breath that long.
it's not that long. You can do it. Just gotta breathe.
I can't. I got asthma. Hey, what?
Hey, Shorty.
Damn, shit's hard as hell. It's really hard and it sucks and it takes forever. That's 3 right there, right? Yeah.
You're supposed to let it go though. I thought.
No, you're only supposed to do 3.
No, but I mean when you record, it's a loop recording, so you're just supposed to keep on talking instead of hitting spacebar. You just let it keep on going. And recording.
There it
Yeah, you're supposed to just let it keep going and let it loop on its own.
It did loop on its own. I stopped it at 3 though.
Oh, okay.
You sure?
Yeah. How do I open it to?
You can do one.
The waveforms and then playlists. And then duplicate so you can add tracks.
Wow, I wrote that down too. There they go right there. And then, how do I hit duplicate? Let me see.
Yep.
Select that. Okay, I didn't write down the duplicate part.
Just right click the nameplate.
Write that down real quick.
So, all right, so we're all pretty much done with this so far, right?
Yeah.
All right, let me just show you a couple things that we can do with this, and really there's a lot. You saw me do the whole harmony thing. If we make this a little simpler, we can also do this, which is kind of nice. I'm gonna open this up for recording. Check 1 2 1 2. If you guys can help me out. This is kind of one of those little fun things we can do with this. I'm going to move my microphone kind of in this vicinity. Or actually, you know what? Daniel, can you do me a favor? Just don't put this anywhere towards the speaker. Try to grab this and take it that way a little bit. Without, catching too much heat there. There you go. All right, now and just hold it up. You can just hold it up. A little lower, just a little lower. Okay, now, well, actually, you know what? Because I want you to participate. Let's do this. Put it over here. You just lay down. Here's what we'll do. You guys are going to hear the click, okay? So we'll just do this. I love doing it for this purpose because it's nice and easy. I'm going to roll the click, and I'm going to record this in a loop. And we're going to do this a couple times. What I like for it, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're just going to, on the click, if you guys just give it a nice little hey shout. Doesn't matter where you pick it. It's gonna be like a little group party. Okay. So we'll literally go. It'll go like this. Here. We can literally do it like this. So we can go hey, 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 hey. Not too hard, right? All right. Here we go.
Same time.
Oh, actually, won't let me.
We're all gonna do that.
All right, here it goes. Hey, 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 hey. All right, that's good. Now, what you'll see very easily with this is, let's see how many takes we got.
You just made a beat for Lil Jon.
Probably about a good 5. So again, I'm going to do this whole duplicate thing. I'll just knock out 5. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to each one of these and just cycle through. So as long as I find which ones we loop through. Okay, there's one there. There's one there.
Beach Boys.
one there. And then technically, what I need to do with them is I need all their gains to go up, you know, a little higher.
Oh,
Right? So you remember we had this conversation about getting these
Always
things.
they had that on 9.
you don't have to
I had a question. When you record it,
What they did?
like when you record and you record all your vocals, whatever, and it still sounds like it's not loud.
Yeah.
Only exclusive.
Is it good to normalize all your stuff or no?
Well, you usually try to stay away from normalizing.
Man, the Pro Tools 1 teacher told me that it's always good to normalize everything.
Yeah.
I got a couple teachers say
And
that.
then mix it.
This game up.
And he told me, I
Dude,
think he told me that one of the teachers is gonna tell me not to stay away from it. And I'm pretty sure it was you.
Well, it's fine. I mean,
I mean, what's the like difference? 'Cause if you can't hear it, you would just add like EQ and stuff, right?
compression,
Compression.
particularly.
But
Just understand that you can normalize stuff, but if you normalize everything, it's a lot of work for you because you have to because everything's going to be turned up and you're going to have to turn everything down.
yeah.
The best procedure is to record. I mean, you record with solid levels, but you usually record with some sort of relative kind of balance to things. So like if you're, I mean, like great example, claps. Like if you're gonna record claps, you don't record claps hot, because when you go to mix down, you have to turn them down so much in order to get them out of the way. A lot of times you just record them at a pretty mediocre level. Like, you know, cymbals are the same way. You don't really kill it on cymbal volume because all you would hear is cymbals, and it keeps you from having to mix, essentially do a lot of balance down. I mean, most of the time you get good levels, you don't have to sit down and normalize.
Because we did that radio spot, and I think it was just because of the mic. I had the.
Well, dialogue's different. You can normalize dialogue all day. Dialogue's a lot different than music.
Okay.
If you're doing dialogue, you can normalize dialogue all day. You know, but
Yeah, that's what he was telling me.
yeah, no, dialogue's not a big deal. And even when we do sampling, I teach sampling. When you sample, we normalize
Oh.
because we have to everything has to come in at 0 dB.
Okay.
Essentially, it has to all hit nominal, and it's real hard to do that otherwise because you can't compress for it because then one will sound different in compression than the other, so you have to normalize them. But when in musical content, really the thing you run into is it just takes more work to do that and then have to bring all your levels down. So a lot of times you just kind of try to track at the range that you really feel like you're
when
going
he
to
told me
be.
to do it, we did it, and then my vocals were really loud compared to the background, so I had to it took forever to get everything leveled.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about mixing some towards the end. When you get to mixing, you'll always have to do that. When you mix, you mix with the idea that if you recorded good levels, you have to start at a real low level for mixing. Because, and we'll talk about this later, but per every track you add, you lose 3 dB of headroom. And if you're doing, you know, I mean, you do 20 tracks, okay? You just imagine 20 times 3 is 60. 60 dB of headroom just got lost on 20 tracks.
Yeah, I recorded with my friend the other day, and he always records like below, like negative 30 something.
Well,
I don't know why he does that, but.
Well, you don't want it to be, the downside of recording too quietly is then if you normalize it and you pump it up, you bring in all the ambient noise.
Oh, okay.
You bring in a lot of noise. Even with this gain thing, I mean, really, this is almost the same thing as normalizing if you can get these peaks to go to 100%. I mean, it's the same process. So if there's a lot of noise in the background, you'll hear it.
Oh, okay.
You really will, especially if the electronics buzz at all. Like, great example, we might have, if we record this loudly and there's a little bit of buzz in the line, we don't hear it. But if we record it quietly,
Air conditioner, you can hear it.
well, that actually that's not the real big thing, because either way, if we turn it up, we'll hear the AC, even if we recorded it quietly or even if we record it loud. But if we record it too quiet and there's buzz on the line and there always is a little bit of noise on the line, then when you bring it up, you'll hear a lot of noise from the line. But so imagining, now we did it with the click wide open, so you know the click was actually on, but let me show you something, and I don't know how true to form this will be.
Auto-tune it.
Let's see if we can get this to run. Oh, sorry, I forgot the word. I didn't move that. So if we're able to isolate that, it's pretty awesome. and you could stack on. So grouping is really good to do for this kind of style. Another reason this might be good. I'll show you what happens with singing, and that's why I'm kind of showing you this in a twofold manner. I'm going to get rid of the click, and if I can get a volunteer.
Who's got the golden pipes? I'm good.
Oh, I don't want to bring them up soon.
Can I get a volunteer?
I'll do it.
All right, let's do this. Let's do.
It's you. No.
Right?
Can I get a
Give him a little Justin Bieber. What's that new song you got? I know you fucking walking backwards.
Oh, you probably started this week?
There's new beats though. Dude, he got a beat from Optimus that they didn't release.
Justin
So-
Bieber?
No joke.
Justin Bieber.
Everybody wanna work with him, man. He makes money.
Here you go.
Wayne was like,
All right, so here's what's going to happen. He's just literally going to pick up the mic and he's going to do a read. All you have to do, because we only have a little bit of time in this sequence, just read this assignments outside of classwork. That's it. Really that easy. What I'm going to have you do with it, though, is I'm going to have you say it differently each time it loops. So maybe the first time just say it kind of boring, and the next time just make it peppy. You can say it different every time. This is really good this is excellent if you guys are doing voiceover dialogue or any kind of dialogue and you need options. You can just have the reader just keep going and have it loop recorded and just say, hey, so as soon as you see it tracking, you can go ahead and start.
don't mess it up.
Go for it.
Assignments outside of classwork. Assignments outside of classwork.
Give me a little more lift on assignments.
Assignments outside of classwork.
And I'll give you more volume. I don't know why.
Assignments outside of classwork.
A little too much. Do it again.
Assignments outside of classwork.
Do it real low.
Assignments outside of classwork.
One more on that.
Assignments outside of classwork.
Perfect. Okay, that works. So realistically, this is where this gets cool. Okay, we had already seen the track view selector say playlist, and it really isn't that beneficial when it comes to the way I was doing it, where I was doing different parts. But when you're doing basically the same thing and you're doing it in variation, what actually happens is you get to see all of these, and I'm just going to adjust these views so I can see a little more of them.
That looks crazy.
Can you hit the light for me real quick, just so I can show you guys this a little bit better without you having
You
it?
got holes in your ear.
Do I?
Okay, so watch what happens here. I'm just going to solo this so I can see it.
Dude, that's dope. It went like right through your ear.
Assignments outside of classwork.
All right, so watch what happens here.
Assignments outside of classwork.
When I'm looking at this, notice that each one of these playlists has a little S. If I solo any one of these, what it's going to do is it's going to negate the top one, the one that's in the main playlist. And just so you know, this is now known as the main playlist, and all of the ones below are known as alternate playlists. But notice you have to keep an eye on their numbers because they're going to constantly rotate. So this is the main playlist, these are the alternates. So watch, I'm going to go ahead and solo the first one here, so we'll only hear the one that says Vox 4-01.
Password.
So, and I'm going to keep, I'm sorry, I gotta
Asswork.
let me keep this loop so we can see this.
That shit said asswork.
Assignments outside of classwork.
So now if I want to cycle through these and listen to each one, I can just go through each one.
Assignments outside of classwork. Assignments outside of classwork.
This one distorted, because
Assignments outside of classwork. Assignments outside of classwork. Assignments outside of classwork.
Okay, so this is how this works. So now that we know what we're dealing with, we can literally piece these together. And we can do it in this kind of manner. What we do is we pick, and I'm just going to do this in slip so I can slide around anywhere I want. You highlight the waveform selection that you want from any of the alternates. And then what you can do is you hit this arrow and it's going to throw it into the main playlist. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go to this playlist menu and I'm going to hit new. And it's going to ask me to title it. I'm going to call this Vox Comp for compilation. What's known as comping essentially is the compiling of all the versions so you make the awesome one. This is how vocals are done.
So you just made the main one to another sub.
Yeah, another alternate.
Alright.
And I made a new playlist that's blank. This is how vocals are done in the real world. In the professional realm, the vocalists that you hear on, especially on the radio, probably took 1 to 200 takes, realistically.
Yeah.
1 to 200 takes.
I seen a video.
Yeah, sometimes they'll literally do word by word. Sometimes they will literally do every single word, and they won't do them by themselves, but they will do a focus. So they'll sing a line, and they'll be like, all right, let's do a pass on this. The word that we really need is, this word, and they may sing the whole phrase, but the word that they're really focusing on is that one, and they'll literally go through, and they could have really done, I've done this with vocalists, you might take 10 takes. And you might out of those 10 takes, literally go through each take, word by word, and pick the best phrase from each take, or the best word from each take, and that's how this gets done. It's really.
I've seen an artist do that where they're like, oh, I didn't like it, let's redo that one.
Well, that's what you do.
Just keep all of them and then cut them up.
That's your job. That's essentially, welcome to your job. That's exactly what you'll be doing. That's how it gets done. And it's not just vocals. The reason we're going to do loop recording a lot, I use loop recording a lot when I'm working with drummers or when I'm doing drums on my own. A lot of times you'll do 10 to 12 drum takes, and then you'll sit down and look at which ones you like, and you'll piece the fills. You'll say, oh, we like this fill in this one section, but we don't like it here, so let's move it to the front. And you'll do a lot of work with, you're going to do a ton of work with files like this. But essentially, all you're going to do is you're just going to say, all right, then hit this arrow. Let's throw that to the top. I like that. Let's go on to the next section. So here, let's listen to what he says.
Assignment.
All right, so we're looking for the next thing. He said assignment. We want to find another part of this.
It's outside of classwork.
So I'm going to throw this one up. And I'm actually going to have to move this a little bit.
Assignment. Outside. Assignments. Outside.
All right, and then I'm going to get classwork from somewhere else. Now, this isn't realistic because we're not really working off a beat pattern here. But this still shows us how this operates or functions. So you're kind of seeing how these get thrown together. And then we can just kind of put these in the right.
Classwork.
And I'm going to do what's called a batch. I'm going to do what's called a batch crossfade. A batch crossfade is where we use more than one region to crossfade at one time. And I can hit Command F, and it's going to do all of them. So it's essentially going to piece all those together.
Assignments. Outside of classwork.
Now this one needs to. Now volume-wise, I'm going to make some adjustments so that they're close.
Outside of that.
Command F was the.
Command F. Command F is to fade, but now if you fade across more than one region, it's going to batch fade. It's going to do the whole thing. It's just going to do any crossfade that should exist between any regions.
Just stick them together, right?
Yeah, what crossfading does is it's going to allow the previous content to go out while the new content comes in, so it's smooth.
Okay.
Which is why when you hear it, watch. This is a different S right here, so watch it.
Assignments.
Doesn't it sound like the same one?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would sound kind of, you'd hear it glitch.
Assignments. Outside of classwork.
Now,
Class.
let me make an adjustment here. I'm going to separate this.
File for a song I'm doing.
Assignments. Outside of classwork.
Classwork.
And I'm going to just do a little quick fade here.
Classwork.
Assignments. Outside of classwork.
And that's what.
Assignments. Outside of classwork.
That's basically how, essentially one way you're going to use these playlists or loop recording in order to gain kind of the ability to piece and map out several things. Now, in the real world, again, when you're working with bars and beats, if you have singers, you're taking multiple passes and you're throwing those multiple passes together to get the best version of everything. When you're working with musicians, you're doing these are what realistically these playlists are what we know as takes. Yeah. So you're really going, all right, take one, take two, take three. You're just going through each of these takes. Yeah, well, using loop recording, you're doing it without stopping. You can do it without loop recording. You can just continue to do it. The difference is it doesn't auto-propagate new playlists. So when you're ready, let's just say you want to manually do new playlists. You're going to go to the menu, and you're just going to hit new, and you're going to take the next pass, and you can retitle it or whatever, but you're just going to go in, and you'll make the next pass.
So you can do that without making a bunch of different tracks. Well, that's do it all.
You could, well, or yes, and you can do it all, like this one's just going to all be comped on one channel, and you can do it without having a loop record. So if you do this like this, if you hit record now, you're going to record over it. But if we go back and hit new, and we just keep cycling new, you know, then we're just technically just going to keep adding more and more and more takes.
That's cool, because what I was doing before was I was making a new track for each take.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to do that in this kind of format.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful because it keeps you going. Now the real mind-blowing element about this is this works with MIDI, and that's when it gets really cool.
Oh, that's dope.
That when we come back from break, we're going to take a 20-minute break. When we come back, I'm going to walk you through what this looks like with MIDI, and then we'll do the project that's assigned to it. But essentially, what you're able to do when you do this with MIDI is you're able to go in and layer on, you know, all sorts of parts. So if you're really only like one of those people that can only play 2 notes at a time on MIDI, then you can just keep stacking them. And then as you're cycling through, you can actually jump from part to part in a loop. So you can actually set a loop to keep going, and you can lay down a drum pattern and then jump on to the next virtual instrument, play a keys, you know, and then jump back to the next thing and play something else. Meanwhile, all it's doing is stacking. And that's how, you know, when I teach my composition classes, that's how I really teach them to focus their compositions. Take a bar, take 2 bars, take 4 bars, and just keep cycling that until your idea is done, so that essentially when you're done with that, you already have built in that small time frame of time, maybe 1 to 2 minutes of time it takes you to build a real quick grip or real quick sequence, and then before you know it, it's already layered and done, and you can copy paste and move on to the next thing.